Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. Today we're going to take a look at another Renegade GoBot. This is Fitor. Now Fitor was released in 1984. He would be among one of the first GoBots to be released. He would also be available for a little bit in 1985 before being totally discontinued. Of course, Fitor served predominantly as Psykill's second-in-command. So basically, once Psykill left to go to Earth, Fitor would be in charge of all Renegade operations on Gobatron. Of course, you take a look at this toy version of him, and he does look kind of imposing. Not perfect in every way, but it doesn't look bad. I kind of like the black and red colors on him. It does scream evildoer. Although I think the red on his legs is a little too bright. But of course that's due to the fact that up here on his chest it's metal. The legs are plastic. As far as articulation goes, Fitor only has it in his arms. He can rotate his arms at the shoulder all the way around. But of course, there is a gripe about his arms. Let's bring his arm close, and you can see what it is there. It's that he's got his fist at the side, turned sideways instead of straight up like normal. So even though he's got a hole in his fist, he wouldn't be able to hold a gun correctly because he's basically would be holding it from this angle. So, I mean, I don't really see that as a problem per se. I mean, the only real downside is that his arms do tend to wear loose over time, so you can't get him to hold his arms straight all the time, but it can get him to go like that. Heil! Or something to that effect. It still looks stupid either way. Some fragile points about Fitor, because I used to have a different Fitor as a kid. This isn't my original Fitor, but things to point out is that the wheels in his arms here can come out, because for some reason, somehow I lost one of them. I have no idea how it got out, but of course, we take a good close-up look here. You can probably just make out the little edges of the wheels in there. So it's a wheel and an axle all as one solid metal piece. So they probably can wear out, or mishandling of the toy could cause them to pop out and you may not notice. But of course, also another fragile point are his wings. Since they are very thin plastic, as you can see there from this top-down shot, they will break off if you're not careful. Of course, the most common thing that breaks on many of them that are for sale are these wingtip guns that he has. So, Fitor is kind of on the fragile side, but if you look hard enough, you will find one in pretty decent shape. Now, to convert Fitor into his alternate mode, take his arms here at the shoulder and fold them over his chest. Then you're going to take his legs and slide them up. They should slide up under his arms. Remember, these are loose, so they are going to pivot on us. Like so. There's nothing to really hold them in, but they will. The legs will slide snugly into place. There's nothing to hold the arms in. Then we basically lay him down on a flat surface and fold out his wings. And he's some sort of science fiction inspired attack jet. Or attack spaceship or something. They don't really specify exactly what he is. And I've not really found any popular science fiction things that he resembles. So it's kind of hard to say what he's supposed to be exactly, but I don't find that as much of a detriment as most people would think. I mean, Transformers were long getting into odd vehicle designs that you couldn't exactly tell what it was, so GoBots were doing it a little earlier, but I don't find it a negative like most people seem to. He looks kind of cool. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the chrome on the wings. It is a bit of a distraction. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, chrome's nice on a lot of these, but with it being on such a large area like that, it is going to wear out very easily. And it is just a bit of a distraction. It does detract from the look of the jet a little bit. I mean, I think they would have probably been better off just making it black and been done with it. Then that way there wouldn't be that much color contrast, but chrome kind of works. The chrome, he's also got chrome here at the back where his thrusters are, and again, well, maybe something in a darker chrome might have worked a little bit better, since, I mean, this is where the exhaust is firing off. It's going to make him fly, so looks a little too shiny. Should have been, I think it should have been a different color. That cockpit doesn't look too bad. I kind of like the light blue windshield, just tasteful enough. Of course, what most fans criticize about is the fact that all you have to do is look at his underside and you can see the face. Well, it's kind of, there's a simple way to avoid that. Don't look at it. But all in all, Fitor isn't too bad. At least in that sense. Fitor, of course, has no accessories, so we don't have to worry about that. So we'll get on then to my thoughts. What do I think of Fitor? I've always had some affinity towards Fitor. Fitor was one of the early GoBots that I received as a child. I don't know exactly where he stands in the lineup of them. 1984 is more or less a blur in my memory. But he is one of the first ones that I do remember getting. And since it was it would be a long time before I would have Sidekill. So Fitor more or less had to double as my Renegade GoBot leader. So Fitor and I went on a lot of adventures, had a lot of adventures going. So I'll always have an affinity for him. Unfortunately, as a character, they kind of detracted from that a fair bit during the cartoon. I mean, they still used him as second in command, but in the cartoon, he also came off as a little more sniveling. In some cases, maybe a bit cowardly at times, too. So that kind of detracts from somebody that you would leave as your second in command back on your home base. It's kind of, you want somebody that respects and fears you, but has enough command presence that's not going to have the troops starting a mutiny while you're away. So while he looks like he could be imposing, the acts done on the cartoon detract from him greatly. But if we can ignore that, I'd say he's not bad at all. The toy itself, it's okay. I mean, always loved the die-cast metal upper body. The plastic legs, I could do without. I think maybe if they had tried to go with a slightly darker shade of red plastic, it might have worked a little bit better. But in this instance, the bright red just stands out a little too much. But all in all, even after all these years, I still enjoy Fitor. So, yeah, I may be biased on him, but this is my channel, and I am entitled to give you an honest opinion. But I do think Fitor is just barely capable of being in the top tier. He is pretty easy to find on the market. However, finding him with his wings intact, that's another story. But all in all, I think he does look imposing enough. His alternate mode, it's kinda great. If you don't try to compare it to anything that has come before, then it's not too bad. Trying to compare where we fall with him is when we try to compare him to something that does exist. Unless we know exactly what he was based upon, it's a little hard to compare him to something. So, forget the comparisons and just enjoy him for what he is. So, yeah, I'm going to definitely put him in the top tier, folks. And that concludes my review of the Renegade GoBot Fitor. If you liked the review, please leave a thumbs up here on YouTube. Don't forget as well, hit that subscribe button down below and join up within our ranks if you haven't done so already. And please also share your thoughts of Fitor in the comments section down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.